Hello, and welcome to the Frivolous and Frugal Knitting Podcast. We are two sisters who share our fondness for knitting, the things that we create, and the love we have for the knitting community. And we do it with both a little twist of the frivolous as well as the frugal. I am Frivolous Dawn, and in our family's birth order, I am the fourth of 8 children.
Hello, and my name is Frugal Miss Penny. I am the oldest in the birth order, and we have 2 other very important members of the Frivolous and Frugal team. Number 3 in the birth order is our fearless Nikki, or faithful Nikki. Why did I say well, she is fearless.
Yes.
She is learning all about knitting, and she doesn't even knit a stitch, but she is faithful Nikki. She's our statistician, our note taker, our historian, and our biggest cheerleader. And then the daughter of number 7, fearless Miss Brianna, is also sometimes with us. So welcome to our podcast, and hello to those of you who are returning viewers. We're so glad you were able to join us for this episode, and thank you so much for all your encouragement and little private messages and notes that you send us. We appreciate it, and we're hoping that you'll glean a nugget or two from today's journeys that we share with you. And to those of you who are seeing us for the very first time, welcome. We really do want to share our love for knitting and the things we're learning. So we're hopeful that you'll find something to take away from this episode when we conclude. But in the meantime, would you please grab your knitting, your favorite note-taking device, and a sense of humor for episode 79 of the Frivolous and Frugal podcast. Take it away, Dawn.
Well, hello, everybody. Let's start with what you're wearing.
Yeah, well, I am not wearing anything because I can't. But what I would be wearing if I could is this 3-color cashmere shawl by Joji Locatelli that I knit in Leading Men Fiber Arts. It is knit in the Starlit, the Moonlight, and the Blue Ink colorways on a US size 6, and it earns $4 signs for the fiber and $2 signs for the pattern.
Was that was that one of the first shawls?
One of Joji's shawls?
No, was that one of the first shawls you knit?
Yeah.
Me too.
Early on.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it was my first shawl. Was it 3?
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So when I look at that, in my mind, of course, I need to do another one in red, black, and white.
Well, of course, because you don't have enough in red, black, and white.
Oh,
You need one more thing.
I forget how pretty that shawl is and how big.
It is. It's very big and it's very comfy. I really like the fiber. It's just a bit too warm to wear it this morning. So yeah. So what are you knitting?
How about what am I wearing? How's that?
Oh, well, yes. Thank you. What are you wearing?
Well, it is done. So my first sweater, well, first real sweater, let's put it that way. So this is, gosh, I started this in early January, 10 weeks to knit this, which is for me a long time. This is first Raglan. It's a pattern by Jared Flood. I did it as part of the 4 in 12 Zoom classes held by Stillwater yarn shop in Stillwater, Minnesota, called Darn Knit Anyway. The yarn is Berroco Vintage. The colorway is Storm. Why do I sit here and keep doing this?
I don't know, Dawn.
Worsted weight. And I have to chuckle. Throughout the whole project, I used a US 4, 5, 6, and 7. So the pattern calls for 6 and 8. So, but for me to get the gauge I liked, I don't know if I can stand up here. I did not do the traditional hem. I did a picot.
I like it.
I had the ribbing in and it just did not hit in the most flattering portion of, at the widest part of my hips. And so you and Nikki were really good to help me with that. So the pattern gives you some options. I did do just a little bit of waist decreases. And then I think I did like 6 hip increases, which is what I needed in the end. So I did the sleeves on the original pattern. And, this is like a cool 1970s blouse. Again, having never done sleeves before, there are just 2 rounds of decreases as you get toward that cuff. So I did go with the full length sleeve. In hindsight, maybe if I can remember to write down notes, I might drop down even 1 more needle size to get just a little tighter cuff. This I think I did in the pattern on the size 5 was where I started, but my gauge got off, so I ended up following a different size. But I think I ended up using 7 skeins.
Wow.
A little bit left of the 7th. So overall, I'm glad. Can I say this? I did a lot of ripping out. I swear I knit this 4 times, but with your help, you know what? I like how the arms fit, which I always hear is a big deal with people. And I thought I'd be really hot wearing this today, but so far so good. So.
And what was your big takeaway?
My big takeaway is probably with the intent that I started was if I was going to take the time to knit a sweater, it needed to fit. Because there's no more yardage in here than our big shawls. And so I'm not opposed to lots of yardage, but I wear my shawls almost every single day. So if I was going to make a sweater, I needed it to fit. So I would think the next one we're doing for that class is Tin Can Knits pattern antler. You can either do the pullover or the cardigan. I'm going to try a cardigan because I think that's probably more usable. And then that is a bottom up construction where this was top down. Now, the only thing I was telling Penny today, this neckline feels loose to me. I don't know if it actually is. I'll have to wear it for a while, but I just don't want it to pull. And I think the nature of a raglan is to pull since there's not really firm shoulder seams. I'm glad they put the short rows in the back. Yeah, I gave the pattern a $sign, $1 sign, and I gave the yarn. I just want to check to make sure I did it right. Did I say $1 sign for Berroco Vintage? Would that be right?
Well, maybe on your scale.
Well, I gave Encore a 2 last time, and it should have been a 1. So, okay. Anyway, I'll call it a 2.
I don't think it matters, does it?
It doesn't, no, because I change.
Okay.
So that is what I am wearing. What is behind your shoulder there?
Well, Flat Stanley has made a resurgence to the show because you will see that I began our granddaughter's christening gown, Tapestry christening gown by Judy Lamb. And my goal was to finish it before the 1st anniversary of her passing. And so I have done that. And I have also completed the bonnet, which does not have ribbing on it yet. You can see where it's just got a little buttons match the buttons on the gown. And then 2 little booties. Everything has been washed and blocked. And what I plan to do is put the ribbon in it, and I'm going to set it aside. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it will be finished. So beautiful. I enjoyed knitting it. So yeah, there it is. I knit it on a US size 6, and it's knit out of Plymouth Dreambaby DK in white. And so frugalometer, definitely a $1 sign for both the fiber and the pattern, because the pattern is part of a book, and I got the book on sale at Goodwill for $1.99 or 99. Maybe it was 99 cents. I can't remember.
That is great. Even from here, that border on that gown is just striking. Don't you think that little bit of lace?
Oh, I do like it. And it's got the baubles. And I don't know if anyone even remembers this, but when my daughter-in-law picked it out, she also picked out a rainbow blanket with baubles on it.
That's right.
And so that's why we picked this one. And so it's got the baubles with the blanket, same as the blanket. Yeah.
Wow. Continuity there.
Well, trying.
Careful, people may start to expect it after a while.
Oh yeah, true. Oh my goodness. Don't people expect that from me, because you will be frustrated. You can just ask my husband. And what is Ruby sporting?
Ruby is sporting Tenacity. Wow, do you remember that year-long project we did? Tenacity is a pattern by Cold Comfort Knits. It is about 120 inches long. I knit this, oh, as the mannequin tips over. I knit it on a US 1.5. Let's see if I can pull it off. I've been wearing it this week, which is why I brought it out. But just a little reminder of the pattern.
It's just beautiful, Dawn.
I don't know where Brianna is on hers. I think she's still working on it. Regia Premium Silk in the Silberblau. I assume that in German means silver blue colorway. I ended up using 4 100-gram skeins. I can't believe how warm it is. I literally just wear it like I had it on the mannequin. I fold it.
Really?
Look how long that is. That's folded in half. Yeah, and like if I was wearing it, I would just put it around my neck and then bring the tails through and then just adjust it. So it's a little cold here today. I would need a coat, but we had a few warmer days where it was just nice to have something around your neck when you were running around. So I like it. And I think I wore it and didn't spill anything on it. Right?
Dawn.
You know, stop it. They'll start to expect that.
I know. And we already know where that's going to end up, right?
Yeah, I had to wash 2 shawls this week that had lunch spilled on them. So, but that is what Miss Ruby is wearing. What you working on?
Well, I had nothing on my needles because I also finished the sweater and the sleeves, which I'll talk about later. But I cast on my next scrappy project for worsted weight yarn. And I probably have 15 years of scraps that I've saved, because why would you throw those away? So I am hoping to knit with absolutely no plan, no intention. It is called the Squishy Fisherman's Rib. And it was originally written for chunky weight yarn. So I doubled the number of stitches and added 1. So I cast on 227 stitches. It's my first Fisherman's Rib project. And this pattern is a free one by Yarnspirations Design Studio. So of course it earns a single $sign for both fiber and the pattern. And because I am such a tight knitter, I wanted a squishy blanket, and I'm going to make it the size of a throw. So I am knitting it on size 9s.
How nice. And then are you changing yarns just as they run out, or every
Yes.
row? Or?
Yes. Yes. I'm just going to knit them till they're done. And I'm sure there are going to be huge chunks of certain yarns and very small, which is all right with me. This, as I said, I want to just use the scraps. So I'm not looking for something to put in the county fair.
I have never entered anything into the county fair.
It may end up going to the Humane Society. I don't know, but nevertheless, I will have knit it.
And your scraps will be used.
That's right. What's on your needles?
This is the Asymmetric Shawl. It is a pattern by Georgia Farrell. She is a designer for Rowan. It is in the Rowan magazine number 70. I think maybe this stitch marker over here was where I was last time. I didn't get oodles knit on it the last couple of weeks. I'll see if I can bring it in. It is just delightfully hairy mohair.
It is. It is.
I'm over the halfway point. It's in 3 sections. So you can see the first section. Let's see if I can come a little closer to the camera. Can you see the 2 colors there a little bit better?
Yes, now we can.
Yeah, this kind of green and then a super light gray. Now this is a darker gray with the green, and then I end with the dark gray back to the light gray. I'm using Rowan Kid Silk Haze. This is exactly the 3 colors used in the pattern. This is a shop model for Silver Thimble quilting yarns in Green Bay, Wisconsin, where I live. Wow, it's just a simple triangle.
Mm-hmm. Very pretty.
Yep. So I will rant just a little bit about my frugalometer. The pattern is not available for individual purchase. You need to buy the book. So for a very simple pattern, I have a very hard time with that. So I wonder if you could find another pattern like on Ravelry or another website and then just put the mohair into it. Or you know what, if you buy books, there's beautiful, beautiful patterns in there. So that may be a good deal for you. As far as I know, this is the only one I'm planning on doing in that book. I needed 9 skeins, I think, of Rowan Kid Silk Haze, so that would go 4 on the frugalometer. I am using a US 6. So.
You know, Dawn, to your point, that's what I did with this pattern. I saw another pattern on Ravelry, and I think you may have the pattern. That was a fisherman's rib blanket, and it was a paid for pattern. And I got thinking, you know what, there has got to be a more reasonable option out there. We all know fisherman's rib, it's been around for decades, right? And that's what I did. I looked for one that was free because I didn't want to pay for a 2-row repeat. I wanted to, because to me, it was just a scrappy blanket. So I think there are ways you can work around that.
Yeah, there's alternatives if you're trying to make more fiscally responsible decisions. Can you believe I said fiscally responsible? I've never been that in my life, but yes. So hopefully, hopefully this will be done in the next month, I would think. So, what else are you working on?
Monogamous, only monogamous until I cake my yarn though. So after our company leaves this weekend, I'm hoping to cake yarn and then I will actually cast on another project.
Oh, I can't wait to see. I don't even know what that one is. Just an update on some of the projects I was working on last time. This is I don't know if we ever figured out how to pronounce it. Opepe. But anyway, this was a shawl that was part of a mystery advent, again from Silver Thimble.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I like that, Dawn.
Can't stretch it out much more on the needles. Let's see if you can see some of the pattern.
Very pretty.
Yeah. Oh, these little things up here were called caterpillars. So I would say I'm just maybe at the 2/3 done mark. Let me tell you a little bit about the yarns that I'm using. Juniper Moon Farm Harriet Fine. And then I'm also using this white. You probably can't tell. The white and the blue are just a little bit fuzzy. That is Llama Lace is the line name, and it's by Queensland. It has the word lace in it, but it measures a fingering weight, at least on the label. I'll tell you, it's knitting to me like fine. I have a hard time. I've put this in timeout several times. I love the pattern, but I can't see the geometric shapes while I'm working on it. So that bottom brown section got tore out multiple times because it wasn't until I was done with this section and could look back to see the errors. So, and I tore out quite a bit last night in the blue because I couldn't see it. So I don't know if I need stronger glasses. It'll be spectacular when it's done, but it's a small shawl. So the designer is Camille Descote. Somebody put in our comments how to pronounce it.
Descoteau?
Descoteau. Yeah, maybe that's what it was. Yep. So it's all on a US size 4. I know some of the gals at the shop dropped down to a 3, but I like the fabric that I got with the US 4. I called the pattern $2 signs on the frugalometer and the yarn 3. This is again was part of a big Advent mystery kit. So we got all the yarn and a whole bunch of fun other stuff that was part of that package. So it was good. I really would like to get this off the needles as well, but I would need some focused knitting time. So
Dawn, do you think if you'd have knit those patterns, those darker stripes in that with a lighter color, you could have seen the geometric, or do you think that would not have helped?
I think that would have helped, and no fuzz. So I think of the Dustland that some of us just did from Stephen West. I tried that on several yarns and I could not get yarn that I like the twist of the yarn enough to get clear stitch definition. And that is that trifecta, right? In knitting, right yarn, right pattern, right texture. I see the texture now holding it up to the camera, but when it's, 12 inches from your face, and then all I see is the fuzz, I have a hard time with it. I think I'm the only one complaining about it too. So take that for what it's worth. Okay. Nobody else that I've heard who's been doing it had any struggles. So I have a new cast on.
Imagine that.
Okay, maybe more than one new cast on. What the heck am I casting on? This is a class I'm taking. Let me see if I can show you what it looks like when it's done, because it is a very unique. Look at that scarf. Now there's writing all over it, I realize, but that is the picture from. So it's all short. I know, it is brilliant. Little bit of language issues, I think, in the writing of the pattern as far as interpretation. It has a very interesting name. It is called the number 29 flowery scarf, and it's by Susan Ederla. I am using 2 Zauer balls. I'm using the edition 6 or the Stark 6. And really the recommendation was a light and a dark. And I saw these 2 colors together on a different project and thought it was stunning.
Oh my, you've been hiding this. This is the first time I've seen it.
Well, last week, we just had our second class, but the first class really was learning how to count the Zauer balls. Let's see if I can get that there.
That is gorgeous.
So we have these leaves, and then we have what is my burgundy or the dark color is called a wedge. So you do a leaf and a wedge, a leaf and a wedge, and I have to do 23 of them. So I have a long way to go. Now, if you only wanted to use one of each of the colors of the Zauer ball, you could do it with 15 leaves and 15 wedges, but the original pattern was 23. And then the entire thing gets an I-cord bind off around the whole scarf. So I don't know if I'll have it finished by the end of the class. And I don't know if that was quite a expectation of the class either, but this is one of those where I have to go row by row. I use lots of stitch markers, and I need a little sign next to me saying, don't talk to me if I'm counting, because even with this many repeats, I don't have a good reading of it yet, as far as if I were to get lost in the pattern, could I pick it back up? So look at that needle stick.
Oh, that is beautiful.
Number 29 flowery scarf. It's on a US 6. And as far as the frugalometer goes, I would call the pattern probably $3 signs, and I would call Zauer balls probably 3. I like Zauber balls by Chappell. Mm-hmm. Oh, we just ordered for another scarf too. Anyway, that's another scarf. I've got to stop signing up for classes. Then the last thing is another new cast on. All right, this is the one that was part of our shawl goal. Look at that.
Look at you are doing it.
You know what? I don't know what it was about the shawl. The first time I saw it, it was a obsession. It is called UI. It is by Olga Jazzy. It's very similar to a pattern her and Stephen West created. As far as what we're learning, I'll tell you a little bit about the yarn. But the yarn I'm using is the yarn that is in the pattern. It is by Woolfolk. 3 different colors. This is a DK. I needed 3 skeins of each of the colors. I literally am following the pattern as far as design. It was supposed to be a March 1st cast on, but I had trouble ordering the yarn. So this is all I've done so far, but isn't it already?
Oh, look.
It is very visual. And I wish I could show, maybe next time I can do it. It's all slip stitches. So do you see the textures? These are all raised.
Yes, I see those.
So if you're a texture person, you would just sit here and play with this. This yarn is delightful, by the way.
Is it?
And
Okay.
it has some nice techniques. First of all, if you knit it, it's the most brilliant cast on maybe I've ever seen. And I don't want to give away the secret sauce, but that is a brilliant I-cord cast on. It's not your typical I-cord. And she has you, do I dare show the back of my work?
Well,
She
of
tells you
course.
very specifically how to carry the yarn up that edge so you don't see it.
See, I like instructions like that. That's how we learn.
Right. Now I struggled initially because she'll say cast on color A, and then make sure that you bring that underneath the other two yarns and then forward to start knitting with it. So, you knit across, you knit back, and then it says with color A, grab it to the bottom and pull forward. That confused me to see it on the next repeat. Because usually you hear it just at the beginning of the section, but she does it every row. And I think that is so that you get that nice edge.
Yes.
Look at that. Several people in our Tuesday night Zoom class have casted it on. They are much farther than I am, but each one is as visually stunning. Of course, there's a red, black, and white one going. One that are in shades of blues, blues and grays. Oh, I love it. As far as the frugalometer goes for this, I called the pattern $3 signs. And are you ready for this? I'm going 5 on wool stock. I needed 9 skeins, and these are 50-gram skeins. Ugh. Anyway, it's wool stock Tav DK. I wonder what the yarn is made out of because it is delightful. Wonder if it'll tell me if it's just a little bit of heaven or what. 100% ultimate merino wool. All right.
Wow.
Oh, nice. It's just got a nice feel to it.
Well, that is beautiful.
I don't know about you, but sometimes I can get a little caught up into it's not a bad price till you realize it's a 50-gram skein. Now what I have to order. So this is 108 inches long. So I will be knitting this for a long time.
Yes, yes, you will. But if you like the fiber,
I do.
you
And
like
I'm hoping I get into the groove of the pattern. I think I'll always need the pattern in front of me, but it's just going to keep repeating. And I think I'll like that. But also I should be able to see pretty quickly if I'm off.
that's true.
So remind me, will you, to look at my knitting from time to time. Now, the
Yes.
other projects on my needles are just the ones I do, monthly. So I'll just show those as they get completed.
Oh, okay.
All right. So what is off your needles?
Well, the only thing I have off is that Samba hooded pullover that I was doing in the Malabrigo Mecha. Thank you, thank you, thank you to everyone who gave me the courage to do what I've already done before, but didn't want to do it on this sweater. And that was, I just cut my sleeves off just below the join on the shoulder, and of course, frogged those sleeves and then reknit them. I did one the way I thought I was going to do it. Then I experimented on the other sleeve, started trying something different on the other sleeve, didn't like it as well in that it didn't make a big difference. So I frogged it again and reknit the sleeves the same. So it is currently under the fan because it's blocking. But anyway, thank you everyone who encouraged me to do that. I have cut my yarn before. I just don't know because I think I was concerned about not having enough yarn, but I ended up having balls about this big from each sleeve. So I took out a lot of fabric. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot of fabric.
Mm-hmm. So that's the only thing off my needles. So
now, will you be able to show it the next podcast, or will you send it?
I'll probably show it because we're going to wait until they come home to try it on in case I have to redo something else. I'm going to glean it first because it is a single. Yeah. And so that was the one thing that I realized is when you start messing with that yarn, it's going to pill. So I need to glean it before I give it to him. And then I also put the buttons on the Kevin Costner sweater. It's ready to go. I just need to photograph it.
Good. I look forward to seeing those too. I look forward to seeing the guys wearing them
Yeah, I'll have to take pictures.
for sure.
So what's off your needles?
I finished the cowl I was working on last time. It is a French term that means life is beautiful. It's a pattern by Isabel Kramer. It is a long cowl, which is kind of my jam right now. The yarn is Spray by Haiku. It's 200-gram skein that just slowly gradiates like that. It is a very simple pattern. And then you just seam it in the back. This yarn was just nice and plump, and I don't know what it is about this type of cowl right now, but I just love it.
It looked very nice on you, by the way.
Yeah, it's a shop model for now. I'll take it, but yeah, I like it. I like it.
It's very pretty.
So again, a pattern by Isabel Kramer. I keep Isabel Bloom still on the show notes.
I know.
I used the US 6. Now, you start at the bottom and work up, and I was like 4 rows short of the actual pattern before I ran out of yarn. And then I left about an 18-inch tail at the end, and that's what allowed me to seam it up. Otherwise, I had no extra yarn, which isn't like me at all. But
Dawn, you had no extra yarn?
no, and it was one of those where, you know how you're just knitting, and then you go to grab your yarn, it's like, oh no, I'm about out. So I just had to tink back a row and bind off. This was a $2 sign for the pattern and a $3 sign. So if you have any DK weight yarn, 200 grams, you could make these rows as big or as small as you wanted. Yeah, I like it. Yeah, and it blocked nice. It's just a nice round plump yarn. One of my monthly squares I finished was the square for building blocks. Let's see if I can get it's kind of hard to see that pattern, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of hard.
Yeah, with the white, it's blowing out. This is block number 2 in the Building Blocks book by Michelle Hunter. I'm doing this as a class at Silver Thimble, and this is the one I'm knitting all continental. So,
what do you think?
You know, for those of you who are continental knitters, I've been messing with the 2 different pearls, the traditional continental pearl and the Norwegian pearl. And I somehow get into the rhythm of the Norwegian pearl a little bit easier than I do the traditional. Now, it's still not natural to me, and I know that's going to take a while. I know it'll ultimately be ergonomically less motion, but right now it is forced motion. So, yeah, and my gauge is loose. You can see through it. And I dropped down a needle size to get gauge. So this is Simply Worsted by Haiku in the white colorway. What I'm interested in from some opinions from our viewers, maybe you can see the pattern is just a seed stitch border.
Right.
I bought black yarn too, and I would like to put a border around each of these squares before I join them. And I don't know if anybody would have any suggestions on borders. I could keep going in seed stitch. I'm also participating in that Celtic Mystery Quilt 4, and she has a border, a 12-row border that we do around each of those squares. I like it, but it's not seed stitch. So I don't know, is it important for me to stick with the seed stitch? So if anybody has any experience on adding borders, I guess, is continuity important or not? This is really nice yarn too, as I sit here and squeeze it. So
I wonder, Dawn, if your motive is to create a blanket of textures. If it's a blanket of textures, I don't think it matters what the border is.
no, that's texture is the point. So that's a good point.
Just think about something you want to knit in black.
Yeah, because I will lose some definition because of the black. Yep, that's a good point. So I may stick with the border that we're using for Celtic. Otherwise, I looked at her other Celtic quilts that she does every year, and each one of them has a different border. I wonder if I can get a close-up picture of each of those to see if anybody did it in black or a dark charcoal or something, and I could see it. but that is only month 2 of a year-long project. Month 3 has bobbles. I'm not a fan of bobbles, but I am changing what Michelle Hunter used for her bobble construction. And I'm using the one Stephen West did in his last shawl. So I'm just going to see, and then I'm going to compare it to the other people's in class just to see how it compares in size. And if I do like the other one, I will update my Ravelry page with the directions that I used for those. I think that is all that's off my needles.
What?
Right?
Yeah, because you've got your first raglan, so you go, girl.
I'm still not too hot. So I was wrong on so many levels on this sweater, as far as what my head was for construction. Yeah.
So what have you been learning?
Oh, I've been learning clips, slips, and dips. You are so good at alliteration. So let me show you. Have you seen these little clips? They look kind of like binder clips.
Yes, they're little small mini quilt clips.
That's exactly what they are. Did you give them to me?
I may have.
I think you might have, because I have a little bag of them. Oh, and they come in pretty colors. Okay, so we're doing a Zoom this week. I think I was doing one of the Zooms with Around the Table Yarns. And I was whining about this book. Look, let's see if I can do this. I got to do this and not show my tank underneath, maybe. So I did this Pico bind off.
Yes.
I got about halfway around. I'm just whip stitching it under, on the backside. Oh, look at that. Nice. Now, all of a sudden, my picots start to angle. I never once realized that I'd have to make sure that that stitch pattern continues on the wrap so that I line up the rows. I took all the time and put a lifeline through the right row to pick up. I took those little self-closing light bulbs, tried to pin them all together. So on about the 4th attempt, I am like done. I will use super glue on this sweater just to be done. And Miss Bonnie, one of the gals said, Dawn, why don't you just clip those into place? So I have these. I just clipped the little picots all the way around so they stayed straight. And I was done in, I think, maybe less than an hour. That was brilliant, these clips. People said that some of them had used bobby pins to do it. Some had used actual binder clips, and some people used those wooden clothesline. What's the word about clothespins?
Clothespins.
Yeah. Oh, so those are my clips. Now, the other thing I've been learning is slip stitches again. That Olga Jazzy pattern that is so geometric and so visual is merely slip stitching. And who had the brain to figure that out? Well, obviously she did, Stephen West, Melanie Berg. I think the power of slip stitches for colors that look different than like your traditional Fair Isle. So for newer knitters who want to dabble in color, but you don't want to go to two-handed actual stranded color work, I think mosaic knitting or the use of slip stitches is amazing. And these designers who can think outside the box and can create something just by moving stitches is just, I don't know, I giggle sometimes when I think about what a slip stitch can do to the visual look of a garment. So I'm looking forward to that shawl being done. And then dips. So you remember when we were kids and we might have been called a dipstick?
Yeah, Mom used a term similar to that, but I can't use the term she used.
I think maybe I used to call people, don't be such a dip. So it wasn't a term of endearment. Well, no, I don't think it was a term of endearment. Okay, I was a dip. Okay, so it goes back to this yarn. So I've wanted to do this Olga sweater for however long. So I ordered the yarn maybe at the first of the year for a March 1st start. So when I ordered it, I ordered all 9 skeins from one company. So when the bag came in the mail, I never opened it because I might as well just have it ready for when I do the sweater. So the night before March 1st, what a great time to open that package to cake up some yarn. I ordered the wrong colors. So I ordered 3 different shades of gray. How I did that, I have no idea. but it wasn't even like a light, medium, dark. It was like 3 grays that were just one tone off. So there's no way you could use it for something that you wanted that visual difference on. It's the night before we're supposed to cast on. It's a podcast knit along, so one should be ready, right? Okay. So I get online, panic. Oh yes, I definitely ordered the wrong colors. So I order, so I have 9 skeins, right? Now there's only one of these 3 that are right. So I get to keep 3. I have 6 now that I don't need. So I order 6 more. I need 3 white, 3 charcoal. So I go online, I got the pattern in front of me. I'm so attentive to detail. So I look at the number on the pattern, order it. Okay, yep, in stock, ship it out. Great. I'll just be a couple days late. So the second package comes in the mail. It's not right. So the cream is right, but the number on the pattern is not the number. So there's been a transposition of numbers. So I got chocolate brown. I don't need chocolate brown. And I had them cake it up, which means I can't return it. So, okay, I have 6 that I don't need. Now I have 3 more that I don't need. And then they do have, so I called the store and said, what am I missing here? And that's when she looked at the pattern on Ravelry and she had the all the colorways. And so she explained that there was just a pattern. So somebody at our Tuesday night Zooms doing the exact yarn, ordered it from the exact place. And she said, Dawn, I thought you would have paid attention that when you ordered it, it wasn't gray. Never once gave it a thought. I just punched in the number. Oh, I felt like such a dip.
Now, oh, go ahead.
So maybe why this gets a 5 on the frugalometer. I have 18 skeins of this. Yeah, 9 of them wrong. No.
Dawn. Okay.
Anybody needing some chocolate brown, some other shades of gray?
So here is the wannabe tech editor in me. Did you send a note to Olga Jazzy explaining the number was wrong?
I did go into afterwards. I went into the project. You know how you can see all the projects that people have done?
Yes.
Very few people are using, there are not very many projects to start with. And other than her original one, I don't know if anybody else used the yarn.
Oh, okay.
So I will send her a message. I don't know if designers want to know that or not, but it's a no harm, no foul. I'll definitely include it in my project show notes. So, so maybe it's really not a 5 if you order it according to what you need, but don't be.
I don't know. Okay, so imagine you got according to what you needed. Per hank, where would you put it on your frugalometer?
Okay, can I just say what it costs per hank?
I don't care.
50 gram skein, $20. So for 100 gram skein, that's right up there with Lobby Anime at $40 a hank. $40 for 100 grams. So that's pretty, for me, on the frivolous end, that's a high-end yarn for me. And I know it is not for some people, but
right.
Yeah, not that our frugalometer has dollar signs associated with it, but when I mean, you know what I mean? When I look at the yarns that we use, this would have to be on the higher end. And then when you order twice as much that you need. Oh, so I'm thinking, here I was just being lazy, having them cake it up because they do it for free. But it says right on their website, clear as can be, I know that if I cake it, I can't return it.
Right.
So anybody interested? I have a deal for you. So,
well, though, back to your point, I don't want to kick the dead horse here, but I think there are times when you get a $5 sign fiber, right? I mean, for all of us, there are just some things where that's what we want. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Not at all. And again, I wear my shawls virtually every day. Yeah. So I can't imagine this one. Now this one will be warm, so it may only be in the cooler months, but I wear my hand knits every day. So I feel like in my head, that's how I justify it.
Absolutely.
All right. So what have you been learning?
What have I been learning? The power of encouragement. As I mentioned earlier, so grateful for the people who responded to the last episode on YouTube saying, Miss Penny, there is probably a better way to change and alter those sleeves than to literally hand frog or stitch by stitch frog that sleeve. Why don't you just cut it? Yeah. And I needed that little bit of encouragement. I needed to say, you know what, it's only yarn. And I had managed to find similar yarn online. So if I needed to rebuy it, I could. And I just want to thank everyone. That's the power of the knitting family, the encouragement that we need, and knowing that there are people out there who maybe have more faith in us than we do at times. And I need to muster up my faith from their encouragement. So I'm just very grateful for that and so thankful for the people who offered tips.
I never once would have thought of cutting it, but when those comments started coming in, I'm thinking, wow, and you have steeked before, so you have no trouble cutting your yarn.
No, and really I don't. So I think just from the beginning, I was concerned that I was going to run out of yarn, and I did not want to do that. Right. But no guts, no glory. Isn't that what they say? Not that I got any glory anyway, but it is finished.
Very good. That's a little more powerful than don't be a dip.
Well, no, you're a dip if you don't try.
Oh, I hope, yeah, okay. I can go off on a tangent, but I won't. So what's up at Frivolous and Frugal?
Well, we're in a quiet time right now. We have a giveaway coming up in episode 80. It'll be our next Finish, Fix, Flip, or Frog It Cal. So if you have anything to put in that thread, please do so. We will have our next YouTube giveaway in episode 82. So when we get closer to that, we will give you a question and you can certainly respond. And by the way, we welcome your comments, whether we're posing a question or not. So please don't hesitate to add ideas, suggestions, or questions. We also then will have another giveaway in episode 81 for the Fab and Frugal Cal that's taking place in Ravelry. And we will have our next My Dear Stephen West Cal giveaway in episode 80. In the meantime, if you are doing the hat Cal with us, the hat knit along, we are doing the Thinking Cap by Libby Johnson during the month of March. Dawn, do you want to announce your shawl? I don't even know what you guys call your shawl along.
I don't know if it's anything official. There's just a discussion board in Ravelry where we set out maybe some shawls for every other month throughout the year, and that's a moving target. So, so right now there's a few of us doing the one by Olga Jazzy. Otherwise, people are just kind of putting pictures of whatever shawl they're using, or if they see a cool shawl pattern, they post it. So yeah, and please know that you don't have to participate at all. It's just something that we work on Tuesday nights usually. Anybody who's working on it. So did I say that backwards? Anyway.
No, that's fine. And just as a reminder, for the Fab and Frugal Cal, there are 2 threads in Ravelry, one for finished objects where you just put a picture, the name of the project, and the designer and the fiber. And then there's another one where you can chat. So those are options for you if that's something that interests you. We still have our Tuesday night open knits hosted by Dawn from 6 to 8 Central Standard Time. That link is posted in Ravelry. So if you'd like to join, you're certainly encouraged to do so. And then we have our next virtual knit together won't be until April. So that will be a daytime knit together on the 2nd Saturday of April. And I did not put it in my notes, the date, but I will put it in show notes so that you know when that is. It'll be from 10 to noon Central Standard Time. As always, the link will be up about 1 hour before the event in case we have technical difficulties. And it is a little bit more structured than Dawn's Tuesday night knit together. Ours is choose your own level of participation, unless of course Dawn calls upon you. But it's sharing what's on or off your needles, asking for encouragement, suggestions, questions, and just a nice time to give everyone an opportunity to share with others what they've been working on. We have been talking about this, and we are excited to say that plans are still in place for our mini meetup in Chicago, July 30th and 31st. We have special room rates from Thursday through Saturday night. We are excited that they've had to add more rooms than our original reservations, so that is encouraging. Please review that thread in Ravelry if you have questions before asking us, because oftentimes your questions can be answered there. And then I think it's time for some honorable mentions, Dawn.
Yeah.
Again, I just want to thank our fiber family for all their encouragement and suggestions regarding the sleeves on the sweater. And then a very special shout out to Professor Pearl. Oh, Christopher, you are just tickling us. And if you in our Frivolous and Frugal family don't think you're special, you certainly are, because he's giving us a code so you get 50% off. It's the Cable Guy socks. So if you will type in the code Nina, Nina 50, you get that sock pattern 50% off. Thank you so much, Christopher, for your kindness and generosity. We appreciate it. So, Dawn, have I skipped anything?
No, I'm tempted to cast those socks on, and I'm not even a hand sock knitter. That cable pattern going down the leg is just amazing.
It is very pretty, very pretty. Well, I can't think of anything else, so we can't end an episode without what would Nikki say, and this is her little tidbit to chew on this week. After a rough day at work, nothing is more pleasing and enjoyable than doing something you love. Whether it's knitting or golfing, it always refreshes your mind and brings a great end to the day. Yes, sis, it does.
Absolutely.
And with that, we have a full heart, and we hope that you have a week that is a sweet twist of the frivolous and frugal, and we look forward to seeing you in episode 80. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you soon.